This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. I'm really excited for our show today. We're going to be talking about the Mandela Effect. Tim, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I know, Justina, you're really into this. It's a mystery, isn't it? It's a mystery, the Mandela Effect. And I think it'd be good for you, Justina, to tell our listeners exactly what that is. I know there's probably a lot of people that are kind of unclear about exactly what that is.
Yeah, so we'll actually start our show with some explanation about the Mandela Effect if people haven't heard of it before. And then later in the show, we're actually going to ask the guides about some questions about the Mandela Effect. And then if we get time, Tim and I are actually going to discuss, what we get from the guides and see, what's really going on here. So let's learn a little bit about what is the Mandela Effect. So the Mandela Effect started when a paranormal consultant named Fiona Broome said in 2010 that she remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. However, at this time in 2010, Nelson Mandela was still alive, and he actually did not pass away until 2013 from natural causes. And once she published this on her website, many people came forward saying they remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. However, that never happened. And she called this the Mandela Effect, obviously, because of Nelson Mandela. And we'll get into kind of the theories later, but she thinks it happened because of parallel universes colliding and then they intertwined. And also, just to state what a Mandela Effect is that it has to be a group of people who misremember. And again, it might be misremembering. It might be one of the other theories we're going to cover. And it has to be many people misremembering the same event. So it can't just be one person misremembering one fact. It's a group of people misremembering this event, or as we'll provide examples later about this.
So, Justina, you're saying if it's an old lady with dementia, that doesn't really fall under the Mandela Effect then?
Correct. It has to be a large group of people, not just one lady.
Okay. All right. Wow. So that's kind of weird. It's almost like dimensions are bending or getting confused or overlapping. It's something like that. Is that correct?
Yes, and the strange thing is Fiona actually has a lot of expertise in the paranormal world. So some people said that, she's crazy because it was all paranormal. She went to this right away. But there's actually a website on her page where people list different things. So we'll get into examples, but people will put new Mandela effects every day. They'll confirm other Mandela effects that they remembered a certain way. So it's not just her saying this, it's a large group of people.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't we talk about some examples of this Mandela Effect? Do you want me to begin, or do you want to start off?
You can go right ahead, Tim.
Okay, well, there's this Berenstain versus Berenstein Mandela Effect. So who remembers the children's book that they grew up reading about a family of bears? That's what we're talking about here. And many people remember the bears ending with the EIN spelling. However, now, everywhere, including books people have had for years, they say the bear name ends in AIN. And Justina, you were saying you had this book, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I actually grew up reading this book. I actually remember it because I was going through reading classes, and this was at my level. So I had to read these books over and over again. And I distinctly remember it being spelled Berenstein with an EIN, not Berenstain. And this is actually one of the most popular Mandela effects since many, many children, ever since I think they came out with them in the early 80s. everyone remembers it, or a big group of portion of people from that era remember it as EIN. And now all of a sudden it's Berenstain with an AIN.
Okay. And another one, that famous hot dog and lunch meats brand, is it Oscar Mayer or Oscar Mayer? Did I get that correct, Justina?
Yep. So a lot of
Okay.
people remember Oscar Mayer. And the interesting thing about this one is there's actually a theme song. I'm not going to sing the whole thing. My singing skills are not up there. But I actually remember singing the song with my mom, and it was named after the man who actually founded the brand. But his name is Oscar Mayer, and the brand is Mayer. So a bunch of people, including myself, remember singing Mayer, not Mayer.
That's what I remember. So, okay, interesting. Okay, and then we have Curious George, and I did have that book. So did Curious George, he never had a tail. We're talking about his tail. So Curious George is a monkey, and Justina, you remember vividly that he did have a tail. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually remember a specific event. I was in the library at my elementary school, and we were learning about Curious George, and we had a full unit on Curious George, and he did not have a tail. He had a tail that time, but now if you look at it, he does not have a tail anymore.
Yeah, I thought he had a tail. Yeah. And then Star Wars. Okay, I've seen that movie a million times. And there's that famous line from when Luke was when he was discovering who his father was, and it was, Luke, I am your father. That's a very famous line from the movie. However, the line now reads, no, I am your father. And so is this misremembering, or did something happen, or did it change?
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, Old Florida cuisine at its best.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
And welcome back to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. And we're talking about the Mandela Effect. And, you know, another instance was the movie Snow White. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Well, that is now magic mirror on the wall. And which way do you remember it?
I remember it as mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So these occurrences, it's like we all kind of know it one way, but then when you go back, it's changed. It's something different. Very strange. Well, let's talk a little bit about possible theories of why this might be occurring. Okay, we can talk about memory. So there could be maybe false memories that are shared by a group of people. False memories that can occur because of maybe external factors, maybe false news reports, false information, mispronunciation perhaps. It could be related to false memories that sometimes occur in people. But again, why would this happen to like a large group of people? I mean, that's the weird part about this. And, you know, people with memories, you know, people will fill in memories with old memories, and memories can become fuzzy, or they can change over time sometimes, maybe cognitive errors. So I guess maybe that might be a way that this is happening. Another way might just be misinformation effect, like seeing, you know, claiming from someone else that somebody says something, so then others agree with that. You know, like if you say something, then, oh, okay, and then people just kind of go with it, so to speak. It's like that telephone effect, you know, when you get 20 people in a circle, and by the time the message gets all the way around, it's totally different. You know, maybe the recollection of an event may be the same as another person now, but once the subject is brought up again, it's kind of fired off in a different way. You know, misinformation, you know, easily can travel from one person to another, and then maybe that is kind of how the group, you know, comes together with, you know, a changed story.
Yeah, so those are the theories that Tim talked about that are kind of debunking the Mandela effect. So those are the ones that make it so that the Mandela effect isn't actually something paranormal, something strange. It's just misinformation, or the people put in these memories themselves. But again, some people argue, then why do they remember specifically hearing this or seeing the book or watching the movie that has this information? And the other question for this too is, why do so many people have this issue? So obviously not everyone's going around telling each other, oh, you have to believe it's mirror, mirror. But all of a sudden everyone has the same memory.
Right.
So I'm going to talk about a little bit more about other theories that were brought up that are kind of more on the paranormal side of different things that could be happening. And one theory is that there's actually a sliding between parallel realities. So the first point I want to bring up is that this is based on the principles of quantum mechanics. And I don't know how many of our listeners have taken quantum mechanics, but I actually had to take it. And it was one of the most confusing classes I've taken in my life. It was a lot of information that I did not understand, and people could spend, years and years and years on this information, but it was still confusing and a lot of things that aren't very straightforward. And basically, this theory lies on that there was one reality and it slid into another, meaning that a person was in one reality and then all of a sudden they changed into this other parallel reality. So that's why they remember it one way, but now they remember it or see it a different way. And first, for this theory, this would mean that alternate realities would have to exist. So there would have to be alternate realities, and these realities would have to be very similar since there's only small differences between the realities. Also, the people may not be conscious of this. So the people may not know that they're in that different reality. Otherwise, I would completely explain why they remember it one way. But then this also lies in the questions, could this happen to many people? And is this possible? I mean, are parallel realities possible? And this also brings up the point of time-space continuum. And this basically means there are no boundaries between time and space, that time and space is all the same, and this is why these parallel realities are here. What do you think about that theory, Tim?
I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I don't know. I guess that's why we're going to ask the spirit guides, right? But yeah, the time-space thing, it's so weird because I think we've all experienced when time totally slows down or it really speeds up. And you're like, what's that? It's weird. So it could come into play with other things in the world, which would create this Mandela effect.
Well, the next theory is actually a little bit different, and it's called the holodeck theory. So this is based on a device that was actually used in Star Trek, the TV show, that creates a virtual reality experience. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard about virtual reality devices that happen now. But in Star Trek, they actually use this virtual reality experience not just to see the virtual reality, but actually experience it. So this theory is based on Star Trek, and it basically says that these memory glitches that are occurring from the Mandela effect are actually software glitches, and this causes issues with people's perception of reality, meaning that something glitched, and that's why they remember it some way, but it's actually a different way. And then our last theory, and this kind of is a group of theories that people have had, is that outside factors are actually affecting a person's memory. So these can be things such as pollution, magnetic fields. Some people even said maybe aliens are involved, or one person or a few people actually brought up maybe people are just taking drugs, and some kind of drugs that they are taking are making people remember things differently, which I have to disagree that is not probably the cause.
Yeah, well, that would have to be a collective bunch of people taking drugs, I would think, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is really exciting stuff. So, we have time before the break. Why don't we jump in? And if you're a new listener, what we do is Justina and I are light workers. We work together. And I guide Justina into a state where basically she's sleeping. And then we have this code word. You'll hear me say it. Then I'll ask if her spirit guides can come forward and talk with us. And that's when things get really exciting. So let's find out what the spirit guides have to say about the Mandela effect. It sounds pretty interesting. Are you ready, Justina?
Yep, I'm all ready.
Excellent. Go ahead, close your eyes, relax. And take a nice deep breath in. Fill up your lungs really, really good. Hold on to that breath for a few moments. And as you exhale that breath, just relax, release, let go. And now, take another deep breath in. Fill up your lungs really, really, really good. Hold on to that breath. And as you exhale that breath, just relax even more. Good. And as I count from 10 down to 1, every number will just simply guide you a little deeper, relaxed. 10, 9, 8, letting go. 7, 6, letting go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yellow elephant. Yellow elephant. You are safe and protected by the white light. Yellow elephant. Yellow elephant. And that's good. May I please speak to Justina's spirit guide, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Is this Comets?
Yes.
Hello, Comets. Thank you so much for coming forward to speak with us. We're discussing the Mandela Effect. Are you aware of that? Do you have knowledge about that Mandela Effect? Have you heard of that before?
Yes.
Wonderful. Would it be okay if I began asking a few questions about it?
Yes.
Wonderful. We're just trying to figure out what it is. So my first question is, do false memories occur within large groups of people? Is that what's going on with this?
This can happen if an event happens, as you probably know, Tim. But again, this is not the cause of the Mandela effect, since people are not just remembering this wrong.
Okay. Is the Mandela effect caused by false memories, since humans sometimes recall information incorrectly?
No, it is not.
Okay. Well, that's clearing that up, which is a biggie. Is it possible that the Mandela effect is just misinformation that one person started and then that misinformation just traveled to more people?
Again, this can occur sometimes, but no, this is not in the case of the Mandela effect.
Okay. All right, good. Well, we're clearing some of this stuff up then. And Comets, I had another question. Do parallel universes actually exist?
Yes.
Oh, they do. So meaning like Earth, like where the humans are, that there's actually another universe that parallels kind of what's happening here?
Correct.
And is it just one other place, or is it more than one other place?
It is multiple places. So you can think of it basically that every choice you make goes down a different path. And in these alternate realities, there are different paths. So let's say today you decide to go and drive to the park, but in a different reality, you decide to go to the gym instead. Those would be different places and different realities. But again, there is a very large number of these realities, so the differences may be very small.
Oh, I see. Do these parallel universes, do they ever get crisscrossed?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Now we're getting somewhere, I think. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Comets. Appreciate that.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the four corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, soul balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
And welcome back to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We're talking to Comets, Justina's main spirit guide. Comets, this is very, very interesting. Let me ask you, are parallel universes what is actually causing the Mandela effect?
Yes, you are correct.
Wow. Wow, that's huge. Now, how many parallel universes are there out there?
There is a very large amount. You basically could say an infinite amount, since every small change basically is an altered reality. So, just as in the Mandela Effect, one place may have something just a little bit different than another place. But again, these have so many different possibilities for changes, which gives so many different parallel universes.
Wow, so I kind of think of that like a gigantic database, with all the possibilities. Is that kind of correct?
Correct.
And then sometimes I'm assuming that these parallel universes, it's energy, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, and so sometimes it kind of gets crossed or a little bit mixed up, so to speak.
Correct. Obviously, there is more to it, but it's a very complicated process. So obviously, things don't always go correctly.
Sure. Now, why does this happen to some people and not other people?
It is random and it also is based on time. So, as you know, some people who are born at a later date will remember it as the way that it is now, but people who are around before that sometimes have the issue. So, it is based on one, time when the people remember it, and two, it's random. So, some people remember it one way and other people remember it another way, but there is no telling who remembers it one way and not the other.
I see. Now, are there other changes that do occur, but people just don't notice?
Yes, all the time. But the thing is, with these changes, they are so small that someone may just think that they got mixed up by the information or that they just remembered it wrong. That is why the Mandela Effect is so strange, is because so many people remember it a certain way.
That's right. Now, it seems like it's happening more. Why are people kind of realizing this now and maybe not so much before?
This is because the documentation of different things. So if you think about it, a long time ago, large group of people couldn't even communicate and they could not compare their different ideas. But today it is so easy to share information and ask large groups of people about information. It is
Mm,
also easier to find the same thing in multiple places. So think about a book. Hundreds of years ago, this book maybe was found in a few places, but now it is mass produced.
I see. Well, that goes exactly with Justina's next question because this is a really she's very interested in this. And her next question is, does the internet and the spread of information this way, like what's happening today, have anything to do with recognizing these changes? And you had just said that is why, and that's correct, isn't it?
Yes, it is correct. As you know, the internet can document things very quickly and also mass communicate. So, as you know, Justina has watched a lot of YouTube videos about these things. So, that is one way that mass information can travel and people can discuss these different changes that occurred. Obviously, in the past, it was very hard since people probably would not send letters or communicate in a different form just for a spelling of a name or a line from a movie.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Does a better understanding of quantum theory explain parallel universes and provide answers to questions about these universes?
Yes, so it has been known for the world for some quite time that different quantum theorists or physicists have actually discovered different parallel universes in their existence. But of course, this is very complicated and there has to be a lot more of further understanding. It is also hard since it's very hard for humans to imagine that there are different possibilities, not just the one that they are in now.
Sure. That's you've got that right. So many human beings don't even think of these things. Comets, is the time-space continuum true?
Yes,
Okay. So like there's no limit on time and space?
Correct. Again, there are limitations, obviously, in the current reality because there has to be. It would be, let's just put it as strange if there was no time and no space and those type of concepts. Obviously, humans need to follow time, and that is how they arrange appointments, go places, etc. But obviously, in a bigger picture, no, they do not exist. It is a continuum.
I see. Now, what about the holodeck theory? Is this explanation, does this explain the Mandela effect a bit?
Not the Mandela effect. Again, it is a glitch in a way since the universes are intertwined. But no, it is not related to actual glitches.
Okay. Is future virtual reality programs going to affect people's memories in the future? Things like, virtual reality headsets that are being made right now?
It depends on how far the technology goes. So if a person is actually convinced that they are in this virtual reality, then yes, it will interfere with their memories. But again, this will be on a personalized scale. So that person will have the altered memories, but the people around them will not.
Ah, I see. Let me ask you this, comments. Are memory glitches that people have actually kind of like software glitches like a computer might have?
In a way, yes. So if you think about an older person who forgets something, it's kind of like the piece of software has been deleted, but that part of the code, as you want to call it, is actually deleted out of their memory. So in a way, yes.
Okay. Now, why, I'm not really sure about this one. Why would this only affect some people, but not all, when something happens?
Again, it is random, so it will happen to random people. Again, it is very complicated, so we are trying to break this down in the most simple way possible.
Okay, because I would think if there's like two universes like colliding or kind of interrupting each other, that it would be in this reality system where human beings are, where I am, it seems like boom, it would just be there for absolutely everybody. But that's not the case.
Correct. It is only some people. And again, it depends on many different factors. You can basically, the answer would basically be that it depends on their choices and their paths. So that is why only some people experience this and not all.
Oh, okay. Well, that slides into the next question quite well. Justina was wondering, do only certain people experience these virtual reality experiences?
Yes. So again, it is all about choice. And again, just like with a virtual reality headset, only certain people will decide to actually partake in this. Other people will want to just be in their current reality and not experience anything such as that.
Okay, so when this Mandela effect occurs, when it happens, are there any outside factors causing the Mandela effect?
No.
Okay, so Justina had a couple questions about that. Like, do drugs, if somebody takes drugs, does that influence a person's memories?
Again, that will influence the specific person or the people who take those drugs. But again, it will not influence a large group of people.
Okay. What if there was, in a certain area, if there was like a high density of pollution, would that influence people? Would that create this Mandela effect?
No, pollution will not create changes in memory.
Okay. What about the food we eat or the water that we drink? Does that influence people?
It can influence people's health, obviously, and how healthy a person is. But again, unless they're ingesting drugs or something that is going to alter their mind state, this will not alter their memories.
Okay. Is there anything other than the questions I've asked, that you could tell us to give us further information into these parallel universes kind of colliding?
Basically, you can think of it as many different lines on a plane. And in this plane, these lines are colliding. So some of the lines sometimes crisscross, and that is when things happen, like the Mandela Effect and people remembering things differently. So we know you use the example of Nelson Mandela dying at a certain time. So in one of these universes, he did die at that time, but obviously in the current one that the people are in, he did not die until later. So you can think of these lines crossing, but again, they do not always cross.
Oh, okay. Is there a spiritual person or group of spirits that kind of look after these different universes to make it so that doesn't happen real often?
Yes, there is. Basically, mostly Source is in charge of it, but again, yes, there is control over this, so it does not happen often. But again, it can happen, and obviously it has in certain circumstances.
Okay. And, Comets, when I talk to you and other guides, but obviously I talk to you more than the other guides, you speak of Source a lot, and people are listening to this program. Here on Earth, we talk about God the Creator. And when I speak with you, you don't really say the term God. You say Source quite a bit. Do the spirits in the spirit world primarily do they say God and Source, or do you primarily say Source?
We primarily say Source, since God, in the name God, is more of a human concept, where humans decided to call Source God. But again, he, she, whatever you want to call the gender of Source, can be referred to as God or Source.
Okay. And for you, Comets, and I know I've asked you this before, but it's really interesting. This is a little bit off the topic of the Mandela Effect, but it's just very interesting. I've asked you before if you can speak directly with Source. And could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So again, all spirits are connected directly to Source. So it is a very simple process. And as we stated before, it's all through energy. So basically, the spirits are connected directly through this energy. Again, this is another concept that is hard for humans to understand, since their world is mostly physical and not through energy.
I see. Thank you very much, Comets. Well, after the break, we're going to emerge Justina and talk about all of this amazing information.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
And welcome back to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. Justina is currently sleeping. That's where she is. Her conscious mind is sleeping. And we've been talking with Comets, her main spirit guide. And we're going to wake Justina back up and talk to her. I know she's going to be really excited about this information. But first, I'd like to thank you, Comets. Thank you to all of Justina's guides, and thank you for protecting us, as usual. And now I'd like to have all the consciousness and personality of Justina to once again return to where it belongs. All the consciousness and personality of Justina is now back where it belongs. And as I count from 1 up to 10, with every single number I say, you'll wake up. With every number I say, you're going to have more and more energy. And with every single number I say, you're going to feel better and better. And when I say the number 10, your eyes will open up. You'll be wide awake and feeling incredibly good. Let's do that now, starting with number 1, 2, 3, rising up, 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 4, 5, waking up, becoming very aware of your physical body, energy just coming up, 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 feeling very, very good. Let's go way up to number 6, 7, and 8. And you can move, you can Take a deep breath in and out. You can stretch, waking up, coming up, rise and shine, feeling just incredibly good. Now way, way up to number 9. And on the next count, your eyes will open up, wide awake, feeling incredibly good, lots of energy. Let's do that last number now with number 10. Eyes open, fully alert, and feeling really, really good. All right, Justina, are you back with us?
Yes, I am back.
Great. Well, we have like 8 or 9 minutes or so. I'm keeping track. And at the moment, I bet you don't recall much, do you?
No.
So, okay. So, listener, she's been sleeping. She's like the sleeping prophet. So I'm going to say the magic word, remember.
Now I remember everything.
Remember. I don't know about you. I'm blown away. I'm freaking blown away. I can't even believe it.
Well, I can't believe we actually got an explanation. That's the thing that's so crazy is that the guides really do know everything. I mean, everything we wonder about, they know, and then they gave us an answer. So now I don't have to wonder over here why I remember it one way and everyone or a bunch of people remember it a different way.
I mean, think of it. Just for a moment, think of it. Every decision that not only you make, but everybody makes. Like, are you going to wear the red shirt today or the blue shirt? You know what I mean? Are you going to have like waffles for breakfast or just a cup of coffee? You know what I mean? All of these different realities, or they could become reality. All the possibilities are out there, and once in a while they collide. I mean, I think I'm getting this right? They collide, and then all of a sudden, what is reality for some people is different than other people.
Yeah, I like the example they used of just like lines, and then all of a sudden these lines crisscross, and that's when different things happen. So it makes me wonder how many things actually happen on a daily basis when these lines crisscross, and what things I don't notice. I mean, obviously I would notice if my wall color changed or I had a different car, but what about small things about your life?
Oh, yeah. And you got to figure, you have to figure this. There has been people out there, and if anybody's had an experience like this, please email us. Our website's lightworkers.cc. If you got to figure that there's somebody out there that something really weird happened. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like maybe their living room is usually like a beige color, and then they came out and maybe it was a different color altogether, or whatever, you know? And it'd be like, okay, am I losing my mind? I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Justina? I mean, maybe it doesn't happen like that, because obviously this whole thing is a system, and they don't want to kind of mess with our brains, right?
Yeah, but it makes me wonder how big the changes can be. So maybe someone's wall color did change, but maybe they just convinced themselves it never happened. I mean, the thing is that you imagine your reality as is, and even with, let's say, the Berenstein versus Berenstain Bears, if I didn't confirm that with other people, I would have just been like, oh, well, I was confused about that. That never happened. But since a large group of people agree on the same thing, I think that's when people feel free coming forward and admitting that, yes, I remembered a certain way.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you something that I never bring up because it's just embarrassing. But all of my family photographs in our family albums, when I was a child, I was actually a little girl.
Wait, what?
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
That's like a big change, Tim.
And then, no. But seriously, so, if you could just for like 10 minutes, like have a looking glass into the spirit world. And I guess we did, right? I mean, I guess that's what we're doing in a way, but I mean, like, with your own eyes, actually look and understand the universe. I mean, how do you even wrap your mind around that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even hearing that information, it makes sense in a way, but there's still a part of you where it's basically trying to convince yourself it exists. And even with the science, and you know, Tim, I've taken a lot of science, even with taking even quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics doesn't make sense to begin with. And I think that's why it's so difficult for people to understand, is it's not logical.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that, and I think our world is getting there. We're not there yet, but with all the quantum theories, and they're not all theories. They're figuring this stuff out. But when you think of science, scientists want to see it and feel it and measure it, but there's a whole freaking aspect out there, a spiritual aspect, that you can't do that. But it's real. And, it's real when you talk about the Mandela effect. I mean, right? Because it is. It's different. This group of people saw it this way. This group of people saw it this other way. So that I guess you could measure it. You could measure that. And do you know, Justina, has anybody written a book on Mandela effects that are widely known? Do you know of a book like that?
So far from my research, that Fiona, who started the Mandela Effect, she has a list of different Mandela effects that people can actually confirm or add new ones. But honestly, from my research, is new ones are popping up every day. And the strange thing is sometimes it's only a small group of people. So there's been different Mandela effects that I've seen that I don't remember the way they remember. So, I mean, I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where I remember it one way and it's not that way anymore. And I've also been on the side where it's that way now, and I've always remembered it that way.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we were told, Justina and I, we do a lot of spiritual sessions, obviously. And if you would like to do one with us, that'd be great. Just go to lightworkers.cc. We would love to work with you. But what we've kind of come to realize is that, our spirits, our souls inside of us, we've been told that our souls actually know everything. Just like when we talk to comets, we were just talking to a spirit. And just really wrap your mind around that for a minute. We were just one-on-one talking to a spirit, someone that lives in this other dimension. And we've been told that our own spirits actually have all knowledge of everything. And when you go back to the spirit world, it's not like you're learning about how things are. You're just more remembering. It's like, oh yeah, well I forgot, But I tell you, this Mandela effect, this is pretty wild. And Source, God, controls this. But sometimes these different reality systems, they kind of bump into each other. What do you think about that, Justina? We've got God, who is perfect, yet is watching over these things, but these accidents, if you want to call it that, do occur.
I honestly think it's just hard to wrap my mind around it, honestly, to be honest with you, Tim, and the listeners, is that even knowing the information, it's always hard for me to really comprehend it and understand.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously the human mind can't. We can't. It's a different reality, So how can we? There's no way. Well, Justina and I would like to invite anyone who would like to work with us to come and work with us. It'd be great. We do our sessions via Skype or telephone, so it's not like you have to live right next door to us. And a lot of people come in, they want to know about their spirit guides, what their guides' names are, their purpose in life, personal questions. We also work with people with emotional, habitual, and physical problems. And that gets pretty deep, and we find out a lot of things. A lot of times the problems are due to karma, and karma is like payback. You got to pay some stuff back, and that's what you're doing, and that's why you have that problem. Sometimes it's a spiritual attachment. There's actually a person that died that didn't cross over, or sometimes it's actually like an evil spirit that has attached itself to you, and that's causing the problem. A lot of times, whatever you're going through is actually connected to a past life, and it's really simple for the guys to tell you all about your past lives. I know a whole lot about mine. It's real simple. And then sometimes it's your life chart that you actually pick this stuff. So we would love for you to come on in, work with us, and we look forward to that. So thank you very much to all the listeners tonight. We really appreciate it.